Hey everyone, and welcome back to Vitruvian Art. Okay, so today we have an actual review for you. I don't ever really do reviews, so this is a new thing for me, but I got colored pencils over the weekend, and we all know that we love new art things. So, these are brand new on the coloring market in general. There's very little to be found about them. The basics are there, and I've seen a review by Biblico Art, I think is her name, or something like that, and that's what got me interested in them. It says that they're artist quality color pencils. You can see they have premium pigments, and they look, somebody told me, they look a lot like the Marco Raffines under a different name. Yeah, I'm trying to open this so you can see them. These are not Marco Raffines, okay? The Marco Raffines have a wood metal here, or wood here, and then their little stripe right here is red. It is not silver. So this has a gold, these have a gold barrel, a gray ring, and then the color down here. So, that being said, they have a, well, depending on if you look on the website or on the back of the tin, one says that they have a 3.3 core size, the other says they have a 3.4 core size. Not that that matters. A 0.10 difference or whatever is not that big of a deal. But that is smaller than Prismacolor or polychromos, I believe. So, they do have a smaller core, but I don't think that matters that much, to me at least. Let's see. They are oil-based. These pencils are oil-based. It says they're right on the back of the tin. I'll show you. Non-toxic. There's their information if you want to check them out. There's not a lot there. There's a color chart, and it basically just says, you know, pick out good paper, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Very random. They are new. So let's get down to some of the questions you guys asked. They have numbers, and I made a color chart because that's what I do all the time. They have numbers that make absolutely no sense. For me, that's an issue. Because I don't like that. To me, it makes no freaking sense. The colors are beautiful and rich and vibrant and lovely. Absolutely lovely. But as you can see, their numbers make absolutely no sense. This is going down each of the layers in the tin. So this is the first layer, second layer, and third layer. It's just how I did it. But yeah, the numbers themselves going across, because they're like this, just going across the tin, just make no sense. They're not in any way, like, yeah, no, they just don't. So, if that upsets you, understand that that's how they are. However, I was very impressed with these pencils, like really impressed, for as cheap as they are. They are, like I said, new on the market. And one of the colors, or one of the questions you guys asked was about lightfastness. The lightfastness on this, they have not been tested. That does not mean they're not light fast. It means that that's just an unknown at this point. The entire set, I got the 72 set, which is the bigger one they have. On Amazon, it is $26.64. So it's under 30 bucks. I mean, for a 72 set of color pencils, which is not bad, if you ask me. Let's see. Let's go do some stuff with them. You know, stuff. They're very pigmented, by the way. They're oil-based, so I will compare them to polychromos, which are oil-based. A lot of people seem to think that the Marco Raffines, Marco Renoirs are oil-based. They are not. They are wax-based. A lot of people believe that they are oil. They are not. People say that, and there are color sources that say that, but if you actually email the company, they will tell you that they are wax-based. I actually believe that the Blick Studios were oil-based for a while. Those are not as well. They are also wax-based. So this is an actual oil-based pencil, which already means I'm kind of a fan, because I prefer those, because there's no wax bloom in general with oil-based pencils. Okay, let's do some stuff. I did this last night because of my gem group and all that fun stuff. And this is what made me believe, like, in these pencils at first. They do pull up just a tiny bit into the white highlight, if you can see that. They do pull up into there just a little bit. It's not nearly as bad as Prismacolors. And I've never had the color pull up into the white gel pens with polychromos. But it did do it just a tiny, tiny bit. Not enough for me to, like, even really care. But for those of you who do, and then it's a real issue for you or whatnot, it did do it a tiny bit. Not noticeably, like a whole bunch like Prismacolors do, though. So, that's just interesting to me. So, as far as sharpening and all that, are brand new Prismacolors as well. Yeah, hate on me. But I needed them for comparison purposes, and they were like dirt cheap this weekend. So I was like, I'll just put some on the back burner. These pencils, they sharpen fantastically. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. So pretty. They sharpen really, really well to a really great point. As well as, of course, Prismacolors do if you do it right, and polychromos, of course, do, because polychromos are awesome. Okay, so you can tell here that the core on the polychromos is quite a bit bigger, but I've color matched as well as I could. It's actually about the same on the Prismacolors. Look at that. The core's a little bit bigger, I would say, on the Prismacolors. Maybe not. I'm really not sure. I don't know how big Prismacolors are. So, anyway, so we have our Prismacolors, which we know lay down very, very nicely. They do a good job. There is tons of color dust with Prismacolors, if you've ever played with them. You know that. Polychromos, and I did try to match-ish on these. There is very little color dust, and you do have to work a little bit more to get the same kind of saturation, because polychromos are harder. The Schpirerr, Farben, Schpirerr, I guess that's what we'll call them, or whatever. They do have the smaller core, but they are, I would say maybe a tiny bit softer than polys, maybe. But I don't think much. They could be about the same hardness as polychromos, but they do, as you can see, they do have color dust, but probably about half of what Prismacolors do. So, I mean, like, that's not a huge deal. Like, Prismacolors, well, I already moved the dust off of that, but can you see that? don't think you can. But you can see a little bit. Like, they all pull off a little bit. But if you go back over it, you can get up some dust with these. The Farbens, Schpirerr Farbens. I should have gotten a different poly, whatever. Yeah, they all kind of dust, of course. I still think, like, the most dust kind of goes to Prismacolors. They're just kind of known to be super crumbly and whatnot. And they'll smear a little bit, but I mean, that's really smearing for me. So, I generally don't run my fingers all over my pencils. They do blend beautifully. I was doing some on another page, wherever it went. These right here. Okay, this is random. But these are the Farbens, and I was doing them with the solvents and then with a colorless blending pencil, wherever it went. One of these things. And this is the way they came out. They blend absolutely beautifully. Very, very smooth and creamy lay down. And the colors on them are rich and vibrant, and this again is a polychromos, which is honestly my favorite pencil in like the world. And then a brand new Prismacolor. And this is just you can see the comparison of how vivid these are, really. And they're comparable, like, completely. I think they are just a tiny bit, yeah. Like, the coverage of them, as you can see, it's like, if I press more with my poly, I press more with these, the Farbens, Schpirerr, they are very comparable. Like, I'm not going to tell you they're not. Like, they're very comparable to polychromos. And the color depth and richness of them is quite a bit like both Prismacolor and polychromos. Like, look at that. Look at that. If you didn't know that those were all different pencils. You can obviously tell that this one's a little bit different, but that's Prismacolor, and that's because it's wax base. But this is a polychromos up here, and this is the Farben, the Schpirerr Farben, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't speak German, so, but yeah, like this, they look almost identical on the page. Do I think that they hold up the same? Not quite. I think that the polychromos do a little bit better. They have the bigger core. I know they're Lightfast rating. These aren't Lightfast tested yet. But as far as blending, as far as using... Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Where did it go? So, this is my colorless blending pencil, and I mean, it will move it around, it will blend it out into just about anything. It kind of pulls out that color, and of course, if you're doing it hard like that, you're going to get all that everywhere. But I mean, it is so similar, it's ridiculous. To the polychromos, as well as to the Prismacolors. Prismacolors, of course, are softer, but because these are oil base, I think that's the only real difference there. So, that's what you can see with the colorless blending pencil and how much it moves the pigment. These are almost identical. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm very impressed with these pencils. Like, really. And honestly, I am. Polychromos actually looks, you know, really, really soft. Wax base. You know what I think of Prismacolors. Anyway. And then I got out some yellows as well so that we can round out our color wheel with all the primary colors. So we have a polychromo and a Prismacolor. And then we have our Farben. You can see them. So you can see the dust on here a little bit if you're really, really looking. You can see the dust on there, but it's not as much as the Prismacolor. Let's see. Let's grab a couple here. Do some comparisons. Layering, that's something you guys wanted to talk about. They layer incredibly well because, honestly, you're not going to get your wax bloom like you would with a wax-based pencil, especially Prismacolors. But these you can just go over and over and over and over and over. And I'm not putting a whole bunch of effort into blending these pencils by themselves, but they do blend very nicely. Like, look at that. It was very, very pretty. Very pretty. I give it the very pretty award. If there was an award, I give it the very pretty award. They are just lovely. And they're creamy and smooth. And if you're looking for something that would give you a great idea of what polychromos are like, this would be the pencil that I would tell you to get. Like I said, there's not a lot that I don't like about these pencils, honestly. I would prefer that they would have, you know, a bigger core, but whatever. I would love for them to have actual names, like, not numbers. On the pencil, it just says excellent, like they don't know how to spell excellent or something. A little crown. And Schpirerr Farben. Schpirerr. But that's all they have on them. The numbers make no sense. But you can really tell that they are nice pencils. I would absolutely tell you to get these. Like, seriously. Even just for, like, for me, like, I don't ever take my polychromos from the house, like, ever. Like, they don't even leave my freaking desk. I'm extremely protective of them. But this would be an amazing travel set. If you wanted a travel set, they only come in 72 colors right now. I think there is a smaller set available, but I didn't see one. I just heard someone say there was. But if you were looking for a travel set, like, oh my gosh, I would recommend this immediately and tell you to go check them out. They are just extremely comparable. To polychromos. And they are, you know, always. Do they erase? That was one of the questions that was asked. I use this, which is a super soft white eraser, for most of my colored pencil work. Not my colored pencil, but my actual graphite work. Which is for all my sketches and stuff that I do for you guys. And it does work okay. It does erase. It's the middle one. It does erase, not great. But if you use a harder eraser, like one that you get in a mechanical pencil, they erase better with that. A little bit better. They don't erase a lot, but they're color pencils. What do you expect? I don't know anybody who tries to erase their color pencil that much. But they do erase, and it's pretty decent as long as you use a harder eraser. Using a soft eraser is just not going to cut it, honestly. Somebody asked about shading, which is really, really funny to me, because shading has nothing to do with the pencils. Shading is all about the different colors you can use to make your pencils darker. Shading is honestly when there is a shadow on something. That's what shading is. And it means you need to choose darker pencils. That's all that is. They do layer. They layer incredibly well. That's what I was continuing to do over here. Was just layer these pencils and let them blend together all by themselves. And it's still taking color. I don't know how many layers this is now. But it's still layering and still taking the color pencil. Like, I can feel it. And I really like it. And we're getting to the end there. But that's more my paper, I think, giving up. This is cardstock. What I'm coloring on. It's the cardstock that I use to color on most often, so I figured that was the best for telling you guys about these pencils and using it as an example, because I like to know what they're going to act like on what I normally use. As far as keeping a point, as you can see, ooh, look at that. That is 1.5 points. Obviously, if you touch that and go really gently, you will get some very fine details with the thing. Like, oh my lord. That's like heaven right there. And I'm barely touching the paper, y'all. But if we push on it, look at that. We push on it. So look at that. Look at that. It is not breaking like a Prismacolor will. Like, it's just holding steady, yo. Holding steady. Ta-da! So, it's held its point pretty sneaky well. It didn't break it all, as you saw. I mean, if you sharpen it up to that sharp and then just shove it and try and break it, yeah, you're gonna break it. I mean, if you sharpen it up to here and you put it on its side and push, yes, you're going to break it. And it does look like it split down the end a little bit, but it didn't go past the wood at all. And you still have a sharp tip on there. But if you sharpen it that much and then try and break it, yes, it's going to break, but so will polychromos. So, it is softer. They are a little bit softer, I think, than polychromos. Just a little bit, maybe. Maybe. Like I said, they're very, very comparable. Like, you can't tell at all that I've changed pencils. You just can't. So, if you are looking for, yeah, I think they're just a tiny bit softer. They're a tiny bit softer, I think, than polychromos. But overall, I'm just extremely impressed with these pencils. I really, really am. I gotta tell y'all. So, I'll be using these quite a bit, probably. Especially couch gems. One of the things I love about them is that they do hold a point. They are a little bit softer than polychromos, which means that I will be able to use them even more effectively in my toned colored sketchbooks, which I love. I love working on these, and these do great in here. And I do love my polychromos, of course, which I use in here as well, but the harder pencils I don't find go on quite as well in here. So these being a little bit softer are going to be great in this sketchbook. Like I said, I'm not a professional reviewer, so this is just weird for me. But I really like these pencils, guys. So if you're gonna go get some, definitely do it. Don't do it for a Lightfast rating because they're not yet rated. We don't know if they're Lightfast or not. So do it. I would get them. Cyber Monday's coming up. They would be great backup pencils. Or if you want to feel what polychromos would feel like without getting huge polychromos, pick some up. You will enjoy them. They're great pencils. I'll see you next time.